Mr. Speaker, I have been a member of this House for 14 years. It is great honour and privilege for me to deliver my third budget speech as Minister for Sports, Culture, Heritage, Youth, Utilities, Postal Services, Fire and Rescue Services, Refuse Collection and Civil Contingencies. I will commence with Culture and Heritage. The House will recall that during my last budget speech, and more recently in my contribution during the second reading of the repeal of the Gibraltar Culture and Heritage Agency Act in March, I explained the mess that we inherited in relation to the Gibraltar Culture and Heritage Agency. I outlined, amongst other matters, the way in which the previous administration gave wage hikes to people just weeks before the last general election.
Shame.
I cannot help but mention that to the honourable leader of the opposition that when he mentioned
you could even buy them off, even with the money.
yes, I cannot help but mention to the honourable member, the leader of the opposition, that when he mentioned the fact that the culture and heritage budget had increased this year from 3.8 to 5 million, which represents a 31.6% increase, he should consider the fact that the forming of the agency, which was their doing, it cost the taxpayer an increase of 100%, i.e. from 1.9 million to 3.8 million. It has been a long process to undo the structure that we inherited. I need to say that the government is conscious of the fact that it was not the fault of those who signed up to work for the agency, since I would have signed up too. It is the previous government that must take the... Absolutely, yes, you laugh, of course. Yes, and now I'm a minister and I've inherited that. It is the previous government that must take the political responsibility for their actions. So undoing this mess took courage and goodwill from all parties. I am pleased to say that we will be signing contracts within the next few weeks, which will map out the future of the culture and heritage in Gibraltar. The Heritage Division part of the repealed Gibraltar Culture and Heritage Agency will be run by Knightfield Holdings, as it has been for the past 20 years. The Ministry for Heritage will be responsible for other heritage issues. The government is happy to say that we now have an archaeologist employed in the ministry to help us with our now well-established heritage filter. I explained this last year. We will also count on the professional expertise at Knightfield Holdings should we require it. Since the heritage filter on government policy was established, and given that the Development and Planning Commission became an open forum, there was a need for an in-house archaeologist to advise us on these matters. On a day-to-day basis, the Ministry will also be charged with upholding the issues that will arise after the coming into force of the new Gibraltar Heritage and Antiquities Act. The indications are that this Act will be in our statute books sometime this year. We have been working very closely with all stakeholders on this Act, and it is very encouraging to see that at last there is light at the end of the tunnel. This is something that the Heritage Trust has been pushing for years before we came into office. They have been fully involved and consulted. The government's relationship with the Gibraltar Heritage Trust is a positive one. There is plenty of contact between my ministry and the Trust. I regularly meet with the chairman and the CEO, and they know that my doors are always open for them. We have been able to work closely on many projects. These include Harding's Battery, the Giralda Gardens, Grand Battery, and many others. The Gibraltar Heritage Trust can now also boast new, modern, state-of-the-art offices and retail premises in the centre of town. The main guard has been restored, with the contractor working very closely with the Trust throughout. I am happy to say that their new premises have been able to successfully blend the old with the new. Our manifesto states, Heritage Trust, we will re-establish a relationship and a cooperation between the Heritage Trust and the government. We will not seek to interfere in the business of the Trust at all. We have delivered on this promise. The restoration of a number of other sites have also taken place during the last financial year. These include parts of the Charles V Wall, the bunker at Eastern Beach, which is being put into good use by the Bluefin Club, the ARP shelter opposite the museum, which was totally abandoned. This Second World War shelter had debris inside from when the King's Bastion Leisure Centre was constructed. Little or no regard was had at the time of the heritage value of this particular place. It has already been refurbished. The Montague Bastion Chambers at the Linewall Road is yet another place of historical interest, which was abandoned. Many people were not even aware that it existed. By liaising closely with the Trust, we have been able to not only restore this beautiful place, but also to house in it the Gibraltar's exhibition of modern art, Gemma. It is currently holding the Little Constellation project. Another project which has already started is that of Wellington Front. It is yet another of our manifesto commitments that is well on its way. Wellington Front will be restored to its original glory. All outhouses that were constructed after the original period will be knocked down. Some of the Second World War features will remain. Work on its historical problem, which was flooding of the area, has now been completed. All the area will be beautified, and the vaults will house some clubs, scouts premises, and other leisure amenities. Our manifesto stated Wellington Front. Wellington Front needs to be entirely refurbished in order to make the most of the city walls and provide premises for clubs and societies that need to be centrally located. This will also have having to deal with the problems of flooding in very wet weather. We are on the way to delivering this promise. The Northern Defences was put out to the public for expression of interests. These have now been gathered, and the government is in the process of looking into the possibility that these sites can offer. Needless to say that the heritage value of this whole site will be taken into consideration together with its commercial potential and a tourist and leisure area. As is now known, my officers have moved to the City Hall. This iconic building, which housed the housing department, is yet another building which had been left to deteriorate. It will now be restored. The fact that my officers are now there is in line with our commitment to heritage and fulfills manifesto commitment, which states, City Hall. We will move the housing department out of the City Hall and into proper purpose-built offices. The City Hall will then be exclusively used for cultural and historical events. We have delivered on this promise. The bid for the UNESCO World Heritage status will be an important area of action during this financial year. The nomination will be put forward in January 2015, and the process of inspection and evaluation will follow. We are currently engaged in the process of preparation of nomination dossier, management plan, and accompanying documentation. The House will be aware that the nomination will be put forward on our behalf by Her Majesty's government in the UK. We are in close contacts as partners in this bid. UK advisors have been out to Gibraltar and formed part of a steering committee, which we set up last year. The steering committee is made up of members of the government departments and other stakeholders, including the MOD, GONS, and the Gibraltar Heritage Trust. It meets quarterly to evaluate progress with the bid. The next meeting being this Thursday, tomorrow. I should first tell the House the government, following the recommendation of the steering committee and taking into account comments made by the UK Technical Evaluation Panel, agreed earlier this year to an extension of the site's boundaries. The site to be nominated now includes the cliffs above Gorham's Cave right up to the peak at O'Hara's Battery and the Catalan Bay Sands Dune. Put together, this area represents an exceptional landscape which has survived since the times of the Neanderthals. We are working on stabilizing the cliff area directly above Gorham's Cave to ensure safety of persons working in the caves. We are removing all metal and other rubbish which has accumulated on the beach as a result of the winter storms, and the old scaffolding has been removed and will be replaced. The steps leading down to the site are being repaired. There are caves along this path which have been vandalized over the years, and we will be undertaking works to remove graffiti. I sincerely hope that the importance of these caves come to be appreciated by all. It will be possible to view other areas of the site from various vantage points on Sir Herbal Miles Road. It is not intended to open Gorham's Cave or Vanguard Cave to a large number of visitors. These caves are too sensitive and would be adversely affected. However, the government will consider limited viewing by small groups with guides. In addition to this, the plan is to provide viewing platforms at first, second, and third Europa Advanced batteries so that visitors to Gibraltar can enjoy the sites without causing damage. Similar arrangements are in place in a number of existing World Heritage sites. It is also part of our strategy to encourage tourists' visits to our sites by boat. The best view of the site is from the sea, and it is from here that it is best understood. We will offer the possibility of small groups landing to see Gorham's Cave with professional guides. During the course of this financial year, we will be opening a Parsons Lodge as an interpretation centre. Here, we will offer interpretation for tourists who can then visit the caves either by the road to Europa Advanced Battery or by boat from a future refurbished Roger Pier. In addition to the Neanderthal story, Parsons Lodge would tell the story of the relationship of people and the limestone of the rock, from caves to tunnels and batteries. This financial year will see a number of projects to restore and bring to life other sites and areas of historical and heritage interest. We will be announcing these as and when they are completed. A new company has been formed by the former employees of the agency, Gibraltar Cultural Services, GCS, is based on the same principles as the Environmental Agency Limited and Land Properties Services Limited. They will be able to organize and maintain cultural services. Properties such as the Inces Hall, Gustavo Bacariza Gallery at Casement Central Hall, the Fine Arts Galleries, the John Mackintosh Hall complex, including the theatres, committee rooms, etc., the Mackintosh Hall Library, Casement Square, the mount for bookings only at this stage, changing room vaults at Casements will now be under the auspices of this company. They will also be responsible for the administration of a number of committees, for the management of art collections, and for the management of premises held by clubs and associations. GCS have been and will be running, supervising and monitoring the events which have traditionally been in our social and cultural calendar. These include the New Year celebration and fireworks, Young Artists Art Competition Exhibition, Drama Festival, in which we now have international groups participating, local logo competition for the Spring Festival, short story competition, Spring Art Competition and Exhibition, the Miss Gibraltar pageant, Spring Festival, which now extends to 8 weeks, Sarsuelas, which are now 4, book crossing days, maximum of 3, summer nights increased from 6 to 8 or even 10 weeks, supporting the SGGG in all celebrations to do with National Day and Week, National Week Classical Concert, which will be reintroduced this coming year, the International Art Competition and Exhibition, Poetry Competition, Autumn Cultural Program, Saturday's Art and Crafts Market at Casements. They will also be responsible for Calentita, night and fireworks. The House will know that the date of these events was changed to a Saturday so that our Jewish community could also take part. The event was improved even further this year. It was extended to Marketplace, where a long table and benches was introduced and even marquees were put for the first time. The government received very positive feedback on the Calentita night. All the above improvements to the events fulfill manifesto commitment which states Calentita will maintain and improve community events such as Calentita, which are already taking place. Once again, the government has delivered. GCS, during this year of change, have been involved in many new and exciting events and projects. The Little Constellation project is proving a very useful forum with which to foster cultural links with other nations. The Ministry for Culture is fully participating in this event, which comprises other comparatively small countries such as Andorra, Cyprus, Iceland, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Malta, Monaco, Montenegro, and San Marino. It also includes European geocultural micro areas, including Canton Tunisia from Switzerland, Kaliningrad from Russia, Islands, Faroe Islands, Jersey, Guernsey, and Gibraltar. The project is based on an intensive dialogue between two identities through the privileged eyes of contemporary art practice by the Little Constellation Network. This is an international network of contemporary art based in San Marino, which aims to organize and promote projects with a specific focus on current artistic research activity in these small states of Europe. Its network with all these countries to find out how modern art is influenced by their size. Listening to the Sirens, which is the current project underway in Gibraltar, is of a cultural dialogue between two territories, San Marino and Gibraltar, that share a common path of research and interest in contemporary visual culture. The exhibition is currently open at Montague Bastion, which I said before will now house the Gibraltar exhibition of modern art Gemma. The GCS has also been involved in a number of other events, such as this year's Holocaust Memorial Day, Queen's Baton Relay in May, together with the Gibraltar Commonwealth Committee, the Literary Festival, working closely with the Gibraltar Tourist Board that leads on this event. Through the good offices of members of the Gibraltar Tourist Board and the GCS, it is now possible for local artists to participate in the Royal Academy Cultural Exchange that has seen local artists enter into competition for participation in the Royal Academy Summer Exhibition of 2014. participation by local artists of the biennial of the Young Artists from Europe in the Mediterranean, Mediterránea 16, summer 2013, organizing Festival of Lights, which now include the switching of the Christmas lights that will now become an annual event. GCS will also be charged with supporting the Cavalcade Committee for this January's event, organizing small business Saturdays in December, as they did in 2013 in conjunction with the Ministry for Tourism. All these events will strive to emphasize the environmental awareness and, more importantly, to make all these events inclusive to all our community. Very recently, the government was gifted by the MOD the entire content of the HMS Rook Library. Soon these books will form part of the John Mackintosh Hall collection. I would like to thank the MOD for this, and I am sure that it will definitely add more value to the already vast collection at the Mackintosh Hall. We would also like to thank the Mackintosh Hall Trust, who have funded books which students at GCSE, AS and A2 level can use. This has been achieved by working closely with the Department of Education, who were able to advise on the books that were required. There has been a vast improvement in the facilities at the John Mackintosh Hall over the past couple of years. All the changing rooms and dressing areas for the theatre have been refurbished. All the committee rooms have been transformed into bright, pleasant areas with the state-of-the-art equipment. The Charles Hunt Room is used to hold meetings of the DPC in public. It is also used by others as a conference room. The reception area has been painted and new furniture has been purchased. All the wooden and metal balustrade has been restored and painted. The Mackintosh Hall celebrated its 50th anniversary this year. It is therefore very fitting that all these refurbishments have been carried out at this time. Mr. Speaker, an exhibition took place in April to celebrate this occasion. During this financial year, we intend to continue to improve and maintain the Mackintosh Hall. There is, in the estimates awaiting for the approval of this House, an amount specifically for purchasing artwork. The government was recently able to acquire 6 artworks by Gustavo Bacariza, which will now form part of its collection. The Garrison Library has also been able to develop. The staff there have been able to secure a project called Bordering on Britishness, what it means to be a Gibraltarian. They have been able to help in the organization of many cultural and political events such as the Literary Festival and the meetings of the Foreign Affairs Committee. They are further involved in the digitization of documents. Mr. Speaker, the reforms and changes that have been made were carried out in the full consultation with the employees. At all times, we have been able to work together to unravel the great mess that was the Gibraltar Culture and Heritage Agency. I wish to wholeheartedly thank those of the GCS, Knightfield Holdings, and the Garrison Library for having engaged on this matter in such a positive manner. Moving on, Mr. Speaker, to events which are being organized by the Ministry of Culture. It can be seen that our commitment to have an annual mega concert is well and truly fulfilled. This will be the 3rd year in which the Ministry will be involved in organizing of what is easily the biggest event of our music calendar. The Gibraltar Music Festival is attracting many top international artists to Gibraltar. Your pens? Sorry?
No, it's fine.
Ah, okay.
Making a derogatory remark about your speech, the sort of thing he complains about when anybody else.
Yeah, okay. I can take it. I can take it. It's okay. It's okay. It's just that they don't like what they're listening. It's okay. No, never mind. The brand name of the Gibraltar Music Festival is attracting international attention. This year, we have a lineup which is second to none. The Script, Rita Ora, John Newman, Tony Hadley for the very well-known Spandau Ballet, James Arthur, Roger Hodgson from the famous band Supertramp, Clean Bandit, Maxi Priest, a legend in the world of music, plus our very own Adrian Pisarello, Hairwires, Georgia Thrusting, and Orfila. The festival will run as it did last year from 12 midday to approximately 12 midnight, and it is geared for all ages. This year, again, children under the age of 13 will be able to go free when accompanied by their parents. The Gibraltar Jazz Festival, which continues to attract people to Gibraltar, will now also go into its third year. Last year, we saw the blues and TV jazz star Jules Holland and his band perform in the Queen's Cinema. This year, the production team is working to have a great lineup, which will be announced soon. Mr. Speaker, another event which is attracting a lot of interest abroad is that of the Gibraltar World Music Festival. This is a festival that exposes music from around the world. This year, the festival's theme was Chindia. The festival saw musicians from Japan and China who played Eastern music with traditional instruments from the East, from Israel with musicians playing percussion instruments, and from the UK, which had a fusion of Hindi and modern music. This festival attracted interest from abroad, and I would say that more than half of the audience that filled the cave came specifically to Gibraltar to see this show. It also exposes the multicultural aspect of Gibraltar, of which we are so proud. All the above and all the sports events which I will mention later are in line with the policy of the government of events-led tourism. We have been able to work closely with the Gibraltar Tourist Board so that these events are marketed abroad with the GTB network. We also use the social media websites and other marketing tools to be able to announce these events in order to attract people to Gibraltar. So the above fulfills the following manifesto commitment. Jazz Festival. We will promote a jazz festival in which the government will sponsor an international act. This will also help to showcase more widely the great talent already available in Gibraltar in this field. The Jazz Festival will be part of the spring and summer events. The first festival will begin in 2012. This will be in addition to the mega concert that will be organized each year. The only innovation to the manifesto is that we have decided with the jazz fraternity that the best time of the year for this festival is in the autumn. Mega concert, as we committed ourselves to doing in the last election, a GSLP government will sponsor an annual music festival for our youth. The concert will be promoted internationally and will count with the use of government facilities as well as financial backing, which deliver. We, again, Mr. Speaker, we have delivered on our commitment. Mr. Speaker, I move now on to my responsibility for sports and leisure. As the Minister of Sports and Leisure and Chairman of the GSLA, it gives me great pleasure to see more and more people taking part in sporting activities. The reason could well be that the success of the GFA obtaining membership of UEFA. This seems to have spilt over into other sports to encourage greater participation. Children are starting to get interested in sport at a younger age. It is incredible to see that a population of 30,000, we have registered 40 sports. 22 of these are internationally recognized in one way or another, and there are approximately 8,300 sportsmen and women registered in all sports associations. This represents close to 30% of the population involved in sports. These figures do not include those who participate, who practice sports but are not registered under a specific association. For example, it does not cover those who do batuka, Zumba, attend fitness classes, etc. For this reason, facilities need to be adequate and maintained in a fit and proper state for our participants, not only to enjoy their chosen sport, but to be in a position to excel in it. The fact that participation levels have increased and that the standards are rising has increased the demand on the Ministry for Sports and the GSLA. For this, we need to move the GSLA to another, as an authority and institution, to another level. In relation to facilities, Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to say that we have been able to refurbish many parts of the sports complex, which were in desperate need of repair. The old Victoria Sports Hall has seen a transformation. The hall has seen the refurbishment of all changing rooms and toilet facilities. The corridor areas have been painted, and the hall has been, on all the roof girders and walls, refurbished and painted. All the hot water that serves the changing rooms at the Tercentenary Hall is now heated via solar panels.
Very good.
A monitor at the entrance to the hall shows the amount that we are saving on electricity by using this system. The aim is to extend this to the whole of the complex. The main pitch and pitch number 2 have been resurfaced with a new FIFA 2-star AstroTurf pitch. This AstroTurf is also valid for international rugby matches, and we have been able to see a number of them already. The lighting system has been upgraded, which has seen an increase in lux from 200 to 1,200, which means that it now complies with a proper standard to have events televised. Some of the old turf has been recycled to the five-a-side areas at the complex. The 3 paddle tennis courts have been resurfaced. The boathouse area and slip area is now being used by the Jet Skiing Association. Jet skiers can now place their jet skis in this area and use the slipway without affecting the day-to-day running of the complex. Mr. Speaker, during this financial year, we will see a number of other facilities within the Bayside complex which will be built and or refurbished. This includes the stay and play area. Offices will be built below the hockey stands, and new build within the areas where the staff car park is now located. This will include changing rooms for officials, press conference rooms, media rooms, VIP and new bar areas. The bar facilities will be changed to a proper built cafeteria sports bar area. Will be located at the entrance to the Tercentenary Hall. This will replace the existing bar, which is called El Murga. The hockey lights that I mentioned last year have already arrived and will be in place during the summer. We have now been able to work with the Department of Education in order for the allocation of schools for community use to be extended beyond the 31st of May, and we will also soon be able to make these facilities available during the summer. The skate park, which was situated at Lamport, has also been relocated in the car park by the east entrance of the stadium. We have been able to rearrange the whole area in order to provide bar facilities and more parking. The GSLA swimming pool, as I said last year, has been transferred to the GSLA. It has been transformed to the extent that it is unrecognizable. It was a complete mess. There was, for example, no air treatment system, and this was affecting the health of users. There were broken tiles in changing rooms, the main spectator areas. There was no disabled access to the spectator stands. To highlight only but a few of the problems, Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to announce that we have completely refurbished the whole building. We have redesigned and improved the changing rooms for all. We have provided a new accessible toilet. We have built new offices for the staff and the GASA. We have increased the space available for participants by the poolside by building an extension to the pool to accommodate swimmers in competition. And more importantly, Mr. Speaker, the pool is now an example of how we can use sustainable energy and make vast savings in order to maintain the operation of all systems in the pool. Mr. Speaker, we have placed solar panels on the roof and installed a system that now powers and controls the temperature of the water in the pool, heats the water for the showers and in the change rooms, and powers the air treatment, pumps and filter system. The system is also producing more electricity than it needs. For all this, and we therefore are going to extend it to the other pool. The savings are considerable. And as an example, the GSLA had to spend an average of £2,500 per month on diesel to power the filter and pump system, and now we spend zero. Currently, zero. We currently have been making savings to the tune of £104,000. A projection of the savings was done before the system was put in place, and it was envisaged that the investment made would be paid for within 5 years. It is working so efficiently that now this investment will be paid in half that time, i.e. in 2.5 years. So not only have we got all these systems running in the pool, which was badly needed, but we are making savings of approximately 85% of the running cost of keeping the pool. During this financial year, we will continue to improve on other facilities within this complex, namely the senior citizens pool next door. Mr. Speaker, we had a manifesto commitment that stated mid-harbour bathing. We will explore locating a bathing platform in front of mid-harbour so that people can swim. After exploring this possibility and having had more professional advice about the location, the government decided that the best place for this was the bathing pavilion next to the GSLA pool. Mr. Speaker, it is with great pride that I can announce that the Gibraltar bathing pavilion is near completion. My ministry have led on this project, which will be handed over to the tourist board for them to run in the same way as beaches once it is complete. I am also very grateful to the project manager, Mr. Chris Riddell. The general public will be able to enjoy swimming and leisure facilities second to none in a short period of time. A floating solution has been constructed which includes 2 25-meter swimming pools, 2 toddlers pools, recreation areas, outdoor bar, lifeguard and first aid posts, exercise areas, restrooms, showers, and dressing rooms, and a number of other facilities which will make up the bathing pavilion. All the above accessible to all. Mr. Speaker, on another matter, the House knows that GSLA have been involved in the constructing and maintaining of all parks in Gibraltar. New parks and play areas have been constructed at Catalan Bay, Schomburg Estate, and Vineyards Estate. The construction of the Catalan Bay Park fulfills a manifesto commitment which states, Catalan Bay, the park, a children's park, has been provided, but in a relatively unsafe area which is difficult to access with prams. We will re-provide it in a safer area in consultation with the residents. A number of meetings took place on site with residents in order to ascertain their needs. And now the new park is now ready. In this year's estimate, we have allocated funds to complete the manifesto commitment in relation to the Catalan Bay, which states Catalan Bay street lights, We will ensure that all areas in the village are well lit, in particular the areas giving access to the Caleta Hotel. Mr. Speaker, the GSLA has also refurbished a number of parks and ball playing area in Laguna Estate, Edinburgh Estate, Europa Point, Varelbeg Estate, Shilton Court, and the park opposite the Trinity Cathedral. The refurbishment of this park, this last park, is yet another manifesto commitment that states, Duke of Kent House Park, we will maintain and upgrade the park and playgrounds in the square opposite the Duke of Kent House. Mr. Speaker, fulfilled. A number of other playgrounds are currently being refurbished and or under construction. Sir William Groves, I see that the honourable member is getting fed up. It's too much, he can't take it, you see. Sir William Jackson Grove, Harbour Views, Waterport Terraces. This is a manifesto commitment which is ongoing. We are now saying that we can now say that a team of 3 workers who are specifically charged with the maintenance of the parks. They have been provided with workshops, vehicle tools and resources to allow them to go around the parks and tackle issues of general maintenance. Mr. Speaker, our manifesto states children's parks. The children's parks have only been upgraded in an election year. Before they were neglected. They have cost a massive amount of money. They must be looked after. We will ensure that existing children's parks are properly maintained and refurbished as necessary to encourage that the investment made using public money endures as much as possible. There are more manifesto commitments in which in the fields of sports and leisure that have been fulfilled and are ongoing, and these are the elite athlete assistance, sports injury clinic. It will be seen in the estimates on page 188, the Gibraltar Sports and Leisure Authority Appendix J, payments. 28, the amount has been earmarked for both these items. These items are have also been discussed in the Gibraltar Sports and Advisory Council on a number of occasions. The GSAC are in the process of defining who is an elite athlete in each sport, since they all differ from each other. Further, we are currently working with the stakeholders in order to see the best way in which we can have sportsmen and women tackle injuries in a way in which they can return as quickly as possible to continue practicing their sports. Assistance for non-recognized sports. This is an ongoing item, which I can say we are currently engaged in delivering. The sports concerned know that they have our full backing to be able to achieve their goals by being recognized internationally. Our staff at the GSLA is there to help them by advising them on how to establish themselves in a manner which will be acceptable to the international organization they would like to join. Paintballing park. The paintball park is ready, and this amenity will be included as part of the sports summer program. We are also waiting for the paintballing fraternity to organize how they will run it. It will enable them to organize competitions and at the same time will allow public to participate in this leisure activity. Chess. We will continue to support the chess tournament, in which which is a great event, as we promised in our manifesto. And further, we have been able to support the local chess association as and when they have needed our help. The Gibraltar Chess Open has become the biggest open chess tournament in the world. It has been recognized as the best organized tournament in the world. Haitian government will continue to support this event. We have also had the opportunity to support the 3rd Junior International Tournament, which is held in August here in Gibraltar. I would like to thank the organizers and the sponsors for the way in which they have developed and supported this tournament. Mr. Speaker, works are well on the way to relocate the pistol shooting from its present location to the area of the retrenchment block. The GSLA are involved in the sponsoring and facilitating of events such as the Wildcats British Championships, Backgammon International Tournament, Tenpin Bowling Mediterranean Challenge Cup. The Gibraltar Darts Trophy is an event which is organized by the Ministry for Sports. When analyzing the value of organizing and sponsoring these events, it is important to understand what are the benefits to our economy. In doing this analysis, which has been done using all sporting events and the well-tested formula of expenditure by tourism, we see that over 15,000 bed nights have been sold, multiplied by an average of 100 minimum per bed night. It means 1.5 million a year, which the economy benefits. These figures are not inclusive of all other events such as the Gibraltar Music Festival, the Jazz Festival, the World Music Festival, the Literary Festival, and others. Mr. Speaker, the deficit of the King's Bastion Leisure Centre continues, but I am happy to say that we have been able to reduce this from the levels it reached under the previous administration. This has been achieved by terminating the contract that the previous administration gave to King's Bowls. This was an OPEX plus contract. It meant that the company running the 10-pin bowling facilities would do so by having all its costs paid for, and on top of that, a 30% markup was added on. So we had a situation where the more the company spent on costs, the more they would earn in profits. We have been able to terminate that contract, and we have awarded it to the company running the catering in the centre, but this time with the cost greatly reduced and no 30% markup on costs. Further, we have been able to reduce by half the amount that used to be paid to the GSLA for the running of the centre. The centre will soon be run by the people who are currently managing it. We are hoping that during this current financial year, we will be able to reduce the cost of the centre and at the same time provide an even better service to the general public. Before I end my contribution in relation to the sports, I would like to acknowledge the good work that has been done by the retiring CEO of the GSLA, Mr. Joe Hernandez. He has been active in the field of work for over 25 years. He was involved with sports within the government first and then in the GSLA. He has been a civil servant for nearly 38 years. Thank you, Joe. In the past year, the whole of the Gibraltar Youth Service has undergone a number of significant changes, more noticeably within its structure and staffing arrangements. The administration of the role of the Gibraltar Youth Service has moved into the main offices of the Ministry of Culture, where the staff continues to provide support for the youth service. Through this support, the burden of the youth workers of having to do administrative work is greatly reduced, which means that they can now concentrate on producing and running programs for our young people. The management and total complement of the youth workers in the service has increased and has been restructured. What was the team leader's post is now that of the principal youth officer. The post of 2 senior youth officers to assist the principal youth officer has been created, and the complement of youth officers has increased from 4 to 5. Therefore, in total, we have moved from having 1 team leader and 4 youth workers to 8 in total to concentrate and direct youth work. This has fulfilled numerous recommendations from the Gibraltar Youth Service Review of 2008, which has never been tackled by the administration of the members opposite. Recommendation 11 of that report states the service should consider its staffing requirements and structure with the aim of making the post of the senior worker more manageable, reducing the post holders' operational responsibilities to enable more strategy development, i.e. the reforms of the administration, allowing management responsibility to be delegated to the full-time youth workers, consistent with their current grades, i.e. creating the 2 senior youth and community post workers, increasing the part-time paid establishment with staff on appropriate permanent contracts to be negotiated as the most effective way of increasing the direct delivery of youth work, i.e. increasing the complement with the permanent youth workers to do this. Recommendation 12 of the report that they never put into place, Mr. Speaker, read as follows. Up-to-date job descriptions should be provided for all posts in the service. By renaming and creating the posts, the job descriptions have been re-evaluated, and they are now clear as to the role they are to fulfill. Mr. Speaker, the interviews for 4 new youth and community workers have already taken place, and the ones selected are in the process of joining our team soon. In relation to material resources, I am happy to tell the House that the Youth Centre has undergone some significant refurbishment, and now, in addition to its new front entrance, which is now visible from Limewell Road, it boasts a new kitchen, complete paint redecoration, and it also offers a separate project resource room. The Laguna Youth Club has received a new air conditioning system. The Plata Youth Club has received a fresh coat of paint. This year, more funds have been made available to continue the refurbishment program. Since the 18th of January this year, the Youth Centre has been opening during weekends. The Youth Service is analysing this initiative to see how this is working, with a view to opening all other youth clubs. This fulfills another manifesto commitment as follows. Youth Club, resources will be made available for the youth clubs to open at weekends. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased that the Principal Youth Officer has also met with the newly established Unite the Union Youth Section. During the year 13-14, the Gibraltar Youth Service has offered young people a wide variety of personal development opportunities and fun activities. This includes a film project, an Easter project, a spring fun day at the Plata Youth Club, Aqua Park Tivoli trips, Clean Up the World, Isla Mágica, Halloween events, cycling marathons, to raise money for GBC Open Day, residential weekends, which was the Plata Youth Club and Youth Centre organised a feel-good residential weekend that took place at the Retreat Centre, Christmas and cavalcade events, trips to Sierra Nevada. Mr. Speaker, the Youth Service team has been very committed to continue operating the 4 youth clubs. In addition to normal club opening hours, and the team has also worked closely together to offer young people the opportunity to take part in new community projects with outside organizations. These include the Luz Foundation Project, the PSHE, and personal support with both Bayside and Westside Comprehensive Schools, and the College of Further Education, social services, training programs, safeguarding children, working close with the Royal Gibraltar Police, neighborhood policing unit, in areas of the 4 youth clubs. All 4 youth clubs combined resources under the youth service in order to provide a trip to Aventura Amazonia in Marbella during May, and the Luz Foundation summer camp took place at the beginning of June. The Youth Exchange project for a partner group from Wales is to take place this month in July, and the Youth Service is supporting the Cheshire Homes Flag Day this coming weekend. A group of young people also took part in a Heritage Trust project to plant trees in the Upper Rock in March 2014. It is obviously clear from all that has been done above that our manifesto commitment has been fulfilled. This reads as follows. The youth service. We will work with the youth service and youth workers to provide better facilities and more frequent events at youth clubs, where the work being done keeps young people out of trouble. Despite the fact that we have fulfilled our manifesto commitment, the youth service will continue to deliver quality programs for young people, and more importantly, programs that they are identified with. For this reason, the Youth Advisory Council will be re-established as from September, and a new active citizenship program is currently being planned starting in the autumn of this year. As the honourable members can see, the Youth Service is an extremely busy organisation, and it has provided a wide range of activity for our young people. With the new youth and community workers in post in a few weeks' time, we hope to continue our success and look forward to an even busier and promising year ahead. Mr. Speaker, I now move on to my responsibility as Minister for Utilities. I will start with electricity. The House will recall that the GST had made arrangements to build a power station at Loughborough Barracks with a company called ETDE. ETDE was in a joint venture with Volca-Stevin. The station was to cost approximately £126 million and was to be fueled by diesel. This project would have made us rely on diesel for the next 30 years. The price of diesel is increasing by the day. It would have meant that electricity bills, which are currently subsidized by the government to an average of 40%, would have to be increased by 5% to the consumer each year for 20 years. This would have been unsustainable. Talk about prudent management of taxpayers' money. On top of that, as the House knows, diesel is far from environmentally friendly. These are some of the untold truths before the general election. The power station planned by the members opposite did not go through the planning process. It was not subjected to press or public scrutiny. Anda, pa'lante. Indeed, consumers were not even told about the increase to them, to the cost of electricity. The then GSD government kept this a secret. Even, yes, pa'lante, even if this contract had gone ahead, Mr. Speaker, the GSD's power station would not have been fully functional even today. Generating capacity would have been diminished. It is true, absolutely true. Mr. Speaker, he is now saying that what I'm saying is not true. It is true, because of the time that it would have taken to have done the Loughborough Barracks, you see. And therefore, today, there would not have been the power station functioning. True. It was untrue, and all the untruths that the honourable member's side did not say during the general election. That is the untruths.
Big lie.
Generating capacity would have been diminished after the fire at the Waterport power station. There would have been a real possibility that areas would have been cut off for certain times during the day on a permanent basis until the power station was complete. It is for this reason that we took the decision to bring the turbines and more recently the new skid generators. Now we have 55.8 megawatts installed and 40.8 megawatts available at any given time, which is enough capacity. The 15, I know that the honourable members are getting jittery about all these truths that we're saying. Yes.
Well, wondering whether to take your speeches having been read already.
Well, that's so disrespectful, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I was working, so for the honourable member to know, Mr. Speaker, for the honourable members, Mr. Speaker, for the honourable member to know, since he's made the allegation that somebody must have prepared this for me,
So I haven't said that.
well, implying, and therefore what I'm saying is,
Will the Honourable Minister don't give any credence to that remark and just carry on?
thank you, Mr. Speaker, for acknowledging that it was.
Shouldn't take any remark into account, as if nothing had been said, just carry on.
Because I didn't make a remark.
No, right, fine.
Mr. Speaker, as the Chief Minister has announced on Monday, the contract for the construction of the new power station has now been awarded to Burgess Energies and Services. The cost of the contract will be £67,958,000 to construct an 81 megawatt power station in the North Mole Road after the completion of the competitive tender process. The power station will house 6 engines, MAN engines, half of which, MAN is the make, Mr. Speaker, which will be gas only, and 3 other MAN engines will be dual fired. This will include best available technology to deliver the more resilient and secure electricity generation supply in Gibraltar. The company has been awarded the power station contract to the parent company of ETDE. ETDE was the company who, in a joint venture with Volker Stevin, was awarded the contract at the power station at Loughbury Barracks. The power station at Loughbury Barracks would have supplied 65 megawatts of power and would have been, as I mentioned above, single-fueled, diesel only. This award not only provides Gibraltar with approximately 30% more installed generating capacity, but it is also almost half the price than Gibraltar would have paid if the Loughbury power station would have been constructed using the same company. So not only are we paying half the price with more capacity, but the new power station will operate using natural gas with diesel as a backup. The use of natural gas as the main fuel reduces airborne emissions considerably, and it also costs about a third of the price of what diesel currently costs. This makes this option a win-win for Gibraltar in financial, technical, and environmental terms. Mr. Speaker, an additional incentive which we are considering is the fact that we could, for a further 8.5 million, incorporate a heat recovery system which would produce more electricity or even produce water at no cost in consumption. Water. Continuing with utilities, and therefore as chairman of Aquagib, I can report that the company has been able to maintain and improve all levels of services. A total of 11.3 million has been undertaken to ensure that infrastructure for the provision of potable and seawater supply and sewage is maintained to customers. The RO plants producing water are also maintained despite the fact that the cost in electricity consumption is exorbitant. I will go on to explain a little on this later. The service to clients is now greatly enhanced by the creation of a website. Now customers can pay their bills and make applications for the supply of water online. This is another part of the e-government initiative which has been taken on by Aquagib and which was launched during this financial year. In addition to the recurrent expenditure, Aquagib has continued to invest on capital projects as part of its assets replacement plan. This aimed at maintaining and improving the water infrastructure assets as provided for in their contract with HMGOG. During this period, a total of £598,000 was spent on capital projects. This has included 2 major projects to extend the Aquagib potable and seawater networks to areas of Gibraltar, which had previously been supplied by the Ministry of Defence water distribution system. The fact that the MOD was responsible for the infrastructure and the customer was Aquagib has been a problem that has existed for many years and has never been tackled. There were many customers who within the MOD infrastructure, but who complained to Aquagib when they had a problem which could not be solved in a timely manner. The successful completion of the projects has enabled Aquagib to have a full control of and provide increased level of services to customers in these areas. 2 projects of this nature include the building of 2 new portable water pumping stations located within the waterworks and a new pumping main from that station to Aquagib Middle Hill portable water service tank. This has enabled Aquagib to provide its own potable water supply to customers in the Middle Hill area of the Upper Rock. The other has been the extension of Aquagib potable and seawater mains from the junction of Middle Hill Road to Europa Road Lighthouse area. This has enabled Aquagib to provide its own potable and seawater supplies to customers in these areas. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased that in conjunction with this project, technical services with the same contractor have been able to construct a pavement along the road leading to St. Bernard's Church, to near the old 1772 club. Walking to the bus stop from Elliot's Battery, Europa Terraces and Europa Mews is much safer. I know that because I live there. The multi-stage flash desalination plant, which was producing fresh water through a process of evaporation and condensation undertaken by multiple stages, was built in 1980. This was operated by 15 employees. In 2008, under their watch, it was decided to decommission the MSF plant and replace it with RO plants. One would have thought that the employees currently operating the MSF would be deployed to operate the RO plants. No, that was not the case. What happened was that the previous administration agreed to have these men continue on shifts, fixed overtime, and allowances, despite the fact that there were no distiller to operate. Overheads and maintenance costs also continued. The fact is that in 2008, an approximate 1.2 million per annum has been spent. The worst thing about this is that it was even agreed to maintain the manning levels. This meant that when one employee retired or moved on, he had to be replaced by someone else to be employed to do nothing. Further, the company that set them up, the RO plants, were also contracted to operate them, at an annual cost of approximately £400,000. So we have a situation where 15 men are without work to do and being paid, whilst the company pays 2 operators to run the RO plants. The cost of this disaster has been an expenditure of 1.6 million per annum. This is what we have inherited from the honourable members opposite. I can now say that this issue is close to being resolved with the cooperation of the union, the management, and more importantly, with the employees. I now move on to my responsibility as Minister for City Fire Brigade. During the past financial year, a number of officers from the City Fire Brigade have attended various courses at the Fire Service College UK. These have included fire safety engineering, fire safety smoke control for inspecting officers, and fire safety smoke control design. Numerous officers have also attended the incident command courses at levels 1, 2 and 3. There have also been heavy goods vehicle rescue courses, a hazardous materials and environmental protection course. 2 recruitment courses were also attended in May 2013, February 2014, where 5 firefighters recruits successfully passed their training. 11 members of the brigade attended a breathing apparatus maintenance course provided by Driga of Newcastle, UK, and 2 officers attended a tunnel safety conference. Additionally, various locally run courses were attended, which include 2 officers completing the blue light driving instructors course delivered through the Customs Department. 4 officers attended the Maritime Casualty Handling and Survival at Sea courses provided by the GHA and the Port Authority, and all 3 watchers have attended presentations on security awareness delivered by the RGP. During the year, there have been 7 promotions within the City Fire Brigade: 1 divisional officer, 4 operations and training, 1 station officer, 2 sub-officers, and 3 leading firefighters. The brigade has provided fire safety courses to 334 persons from 32 different companies and organizations. For example, the GHA, Post Office, and the Gibraltar Bus Company. 10 fire drills have been undertaken by the fire brigade in different government and private buildings, and community fire safety talks and advice has been delivered on 12 occasions to schools and other agencies. The Fire Safety Department has also carried out 9 fire investigations into the cause of fire at various incidents. 438 building applications have been processed and issued with fire safety requirements. 180 building applications have been completed, inspected and approved. A new initiative of focusing fire safety advice in areas which have recently experienced a fire has been introduced, known as hot targeting. This provides residents of the affected area with booklets and advice and has been well received by those affected. Operationally, the brigade has responded to 1,598 calls from June the 1st, 2013 to the 18th of June 2014. These can be categorized as 369 fire calls, for which 100 were actual fires, 252 false alarms with good intent, and 70 malicious calls. The brigade has also attended 948 special services, 550 of which were emergencies. For example, 552 lift rescues, 6 rescues of persons, 19 road traffic collisions, amongst others, and a further 428 special services classified as requests, which include entry into locked premises, flooding and rescue of animals, amongst others. The City Fire Brigade ambulance was dispatched 281 occasions on its commitment to the Health Authority as a 3rd ambulance, and the Brigade Control Room mobilized the GHA ambulance on 4,901 occasions. One of the most noticeable fire during this period was the fire that occurred at Waterport Generating Station. This involved 3 appliances from the City Fire Brigade, the recall of 18 firefighters for the incident, and to maintain fire cover for the rest of Gibraltar, the assistance of the Defence Fire Service. The incident impacted the whole of Gibraltar due to the interruption of electricity, but what would have been a disastrous incident was dealt with by the brigade within a few hours. Electricity supply, thanks to all the new generators and the capacity that we have, was restored within a few hours later without injury or loss of life. Yesterday we had an unfortunate incident of fire breaking out at the workers' hostel in Devil's Tower Road. All workers were evacuated and have been housed temporarily at the Queen's Hotel. And I must add, as I stand, Mr. Speaker, that yet another incident happened last night. It was near midnight when one of the boats in Queensway Quay also went into fire, and I can say that I was in touch with them all night whilst I was preparing my budget speech, and I thought I'd add this of the Queensway Quay, and also, and it just goes, it is due to the fact that the City Fire Brigade are in the front line and are valued by the present government. The announcement made by the Chief Minister is recognition of this. They might be in the fire station for weeks and months, but then when it comes to the crunch, you might get in one night 2 fires. This pay rise will mean a 5% increase plus the elimination of 3% abatement, i.e. 8% more in the wage package. We are at present still working at the audit report, which includes terms and conditions with staff. I would like to congratulate them all and all the essential services, and in particular the fire brigade, for the professional way in which, again, they tackle situations and the exemplary service that they provide to Gibraltar. Mr. Speaker, I move now on to my other responsibility of civil contingencies. During the last financial year, Haitian government has invested substantially in the development and modernization of the command and control unit necessary for disaster management. This will increase the infrastructure available to the frontline emergency services through the purchase of this command unit. The state-of-the-art joint command unit is expected to arrive during October, and users' training will start immediately. This year, government is investing substantially in developing a modern C3 coordination center as part of the major works currently taking place at number 6 Convent Place. Investing in both the Joint Command Unit and in the new facility within number 6 will ensure that we can adequately respond to a major incident in which an efficient and coordinated manner. Meetings of the Civil Contingency Committee have taken place frequently. There were 6 during 2013 and 3 during the current year. The last one took place only last Wednesday. There have also been a number of one-to-one meetings between myself and the C3 coordinator. In addition, I have attended C3 organized events such as security training for all government departments, security officers, and specific presentations. Meetings of the C3 and exercises which are conducted now were virtually non-existent before December 2011. Staff at the civil contingency offices are engaged in updating response plan and in consultation with others, planning both tabletops and full-scale exercises. 2 of these exercises have already been held, involving all relevant responding agencies, and were appropriate, the MOD involved. During the year 2014-15, the facilities available to the Civil Contingencies Organization will be greatly enhanced. This will greatly enhance this without doubt. Mr. Speaker, it is without doubt a far cry from the state I found the civil contingency when I was honored by the Chief Minister to be its minister. A bunker that was not fit for purpose, that when we have a power cut, all the power would cease, and therefore communication to the outside world would not exist. Mr. Speaker, I now move on to the refuse collection, another of my responsibilities. We are in the process of working with the unions and their representatives on a number of issues which we hope to resolve amicably during the current financial year. In relation to the postal services, Mr. Speaker, as I mentioned in last year's budget address, we have had to implement an EU directive which will mean the liberalisation of the postal services. We are working closely with all stakeholders on how we achieve this without affecting employees and at the same time improving the service and making it cost effective. Renegotiating the collective agreement in full consultation with all affected is one important part of this jigsaw. We have also been able to regrade the management post. We had 4 ML4s, and now we'll soon have 1 ML3 and 3 ML4s. This has been a long-standing issue, which I am glad to say is now being resolved with the union staff and management. The Postal Services is yet another ministry that is undergoing e-government changes. A contract has been signed by the Royal Gibraltar Post Office for an electronic point of sales with Etcher to install computers for our counterclerks at 104 Main Street. After the refurbishment of the Main Street Post Office later this year, we will have electronic receipts, chip and pin, scanning, and universal counters for all products, including redirection of PO Box linked to the ID card system. The Royal Gibraltar Post Office is now a member of .post, which aims to integrate the physical, financial, and electronic dimensions of postal services to enable the facilities of e-post, e-finance, e-commerce, and e-government services. The UPU became the first United Nations organization to obtain a sponsored top-level domain from the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers in 2009. .post uses the latest Internet security. It is the first STLD to be 100% secure by domain name system service extensions, a set of codes for securing the domain name system, the global database system that translates a computer fully qualified domain name into an Internet Protocol IP address. It is the most secure STLD on the net right now. You can trust a .post domain is not taking you as a fake postal website. The postal services have now got their own website. They have introduced a number of customer care improvements, including a new and improved global customer service system run by the International Postal Corporation. Mr. Speaker, as is the norm now with our new Dawn government, our environmental filter means that we will soon be purchasing electrical vehicles, the three-wheeler concept. The electric DXP three-wheeler is a convincing response to a variety of postal delivery needs and is considered safe, due to it having 3 wheels. This vehicle, Mr. Neto might laugh, but it's the most environmentally vehicle that there is in the market. And I'm sure as the former Minister for the Environment, he really welcomes this, because this vehicle has had a very few accidents when compared with the traditional ones. It is tried and tested, low maintenance, with less emissions and quiet operations. It is more responsive, easy to maneuver, high load with trailer, 270 kilos plus per driver, low running costs, significantly higher efficiency in postal deliveries and EU licenses. It also boasts a TUV quality certificate. Mr. Speaker, we will introduce a new and improved definitive stamp that are self-adhesive. We will be rebranding the registered service between tracked services and countries that only receive a signature service with new barcoded labels. We are working towards the introduction of a new and improved express letter service. Currently we are still negotiating with RM, Royal Mail. That will have a new barcode. Later this year, we are going well. We're going well in an insured service within the EU with registered letter service that will be introduced. We will have a new bag tracking system called Cape Vision. Mr. Speaker, I am happy to say that the Postal Service has organized a hugely successful CEO Postal Forum conference here in Gibraltar, where issues such as sharing best practice were discussed. All delegates thought it was great value for money, not for profit. Postal countries that attended were the Vatican, Seychelles, Mauritius, Tristan da Cunha, Liechtenstein, Iceland, Greenland, Åland, Faroe Islands, and all the Channel Islands. A number of statutory requirements in relation to security arrangements will come into force on the 1st of July. All staff will accept mail to have been, all staff who accept mail will have been trained on issues of dangerous goods when declaring goods to the postal services. Mr. Speaker, all in all, the postal services will progress into the 21st century. Mr. Speaker, at this point, I would like to thank all my staff in all the ministries of which I am involved in, and all those who work for all the ministries for which I am responsible. Mr. Speaker, with this, all that I am left for me to do is to support the bill.